Once, I found myself following the Buddha through a vibrant forest filled with the sounds of unseen creatures. He walked serenely, each step deliberate, yet light, as if he floated above the earth. I, a restless disciple, struggled to quiet my thoughts amidst the symphony of chirping and rustling around us. Finally, I blurted, "Master, my thoughts are scattered like fallen leaves in the wind. How can I calm my restless mind?" The Buddha paused, turned his gaze upon me, his eyes deep like the ocean, and said, "Come with me, Ananda." He led me to a small, tranquil pond nearby, where the water reflected the sky and trees perfectly. "Look closely at this water," the Buddha instructed, his voice soothing as the breeze. I did as he asked, noticing how still and clear the surface appeared in the morning light. Without warning, the Buddha picked up a stone and threw it into the pond. Ripples spread across the water, distorting the reflection of the trees and sky. "What do you see now?" the Buddha asked, watching me intently. "The ripples have disturbed the reflection, Master," I answered, puzzled by the simplicity of his demonstration. He nodded, then said, "These ripples are like your thoughts, Ananda. They disturb the clarity of your mind. When we listen without judgment, we create space for understanding to grow." A villager arrived, her face weary, her voice trembling as she shared her plight. "Your mind can achieve this calmness through practice and patience. How do I still my mind, Master?" I asked, desperate for guidance, feeling trapped in my own endless chatter. The Buddha knelt beside the pond, cupped his hands, and let the water slowly trickle back into it. "Begin by observing your breath," he said. "The breath is your anchor in the storm, constant and steady." I closed my eyes and followed his guidance, focusing solely on the rhythm of my breathing. At first, my mind resisted, throwing fragments of memories and worries into my awareness like pebbles into the pond. "Do not fight these thoughts," the Buddha said. Sensing my struggle, simply notice them, and let them pass, like clouds drifting across the sky. Gradually, my breath became my sole focus, a soothing rhythm that drowned out the noise of my own thoughts. Hours passed, though it felt like mere moments, and as the sun began to set, I opened my eyes. The world around me seemed transformed. The colors were richer, the sounds more harmonious, and my heart felt lighter. "Master, the calmness of my mind feels like the stillness of this pond," I said, marveling at the change within myself. The Buddha smiled, his expression warm and knowing, and said, "Focus is not the absence of distraction, Ananda. It is the mastery of attention, the ability to return to stillness amidst chaos." His words settled into my heart like seeds into fertile soil, ready to grow with time and practice. As we continued our journey, I carried the lesson of the pond within me, a reminder that even the most restless mind can find clarity. Days turned into weeks, and I practiced the art of mindful breathing wherever we traveled. When the disciple fell silent, Buddha said, "Anger is a call to be heard. Address it with gentle understanding." "Master," I began, "I have learned that the breath is a bridge between my body and mind. It grounds me in the present moment." The Buddha nodded, his expression filled with quiet approval. "Yes, Ananda, the present moment is where life unfolds, free from the weight of the past or the pull of the future." "But Master," I asked, "what should I do when the distractions of the world threaten to overwhelm me?" The Buddha picked up a small leaf and held it up to the sunlight. "Ananda, observe this leaf," he said. "It is fragile, yet it does not resist the wind." Each encounter taught me anew the science of compassion, where listening became the foundation of every human connection. I carried these lessons into the world, striving to embody the quiet strength and openness of the river. Return to your breath, and you will find your balance, no matter the storm. I took his words to heart, realizing that focus was not about shutting out the world, but embracing it with equanimity. The simplicity of his teachings revealed their profound truth: to listen is to love, and to love is to connect. Even now, I return to that morning by the river, remembering the power of listening as Buddha had shown me. The lesson he imparted through his presence and words shaped the way I approached every relationship in my life. In his quiet wisdom, Buddha revealed that true communication is an act of service, a bridge that unites separate souls. One evening, as we watched the sunset paint the sky in hues of gold and crimson, I turned to the Buddha and said, "Master, your teachings have transformed my life. How can I share this wisdom with others?" The Buddha gazed at the horizon, his expression thoughtful, and said, "Ananda, the greatest gift you can give is your own example. Live these teachings fully, and others will be inspired by your clarity and peace." His words resonated deeply, and I vowed to embody the lessons of the pond in all that I did. Words, Buddha began, are tools of creation. When wielded with care, they build bridges. When careless, they create unending discord. Another day, the sun rose gently over the foothills, bathing the village in a golden light. The Buddha and I arrived at the marketplace, where the hum of life filled the air. Merchants called out their wares, children laughed, and the scent of spices lingered. Amidst this bustle, a villager approached the Buddha with a troubled expression. "Master, my thoughts scatter like leaves in a storm," the man said, his voice heavy with weariness. "My duties, fears, and desires pull me apart. How can I focus my mind amidst such chaos?" The Buddha regarded him with compassionate eyes and nodded. "Come with me," he said, leading the man and me to a quiet field nearby. The Buddha bent down and picked up a stick, drawing an arrow in the dirt before us. "Do you see this arrow?" he asked, his voice calm yet deliberate. The villager and I both nodded, our curiosity piqued. "Ananda, what is the purpose of an arrow?" the Buddha asked, turning to me. I considered his question and replied, "To fly toward its target." "Master." "Exactly," the Buddha said, tapping the arrow he had drawn. "An arrow serves no purpose without a target. It will drift aimlessly." The villager frowned, his confusion evident. "Master, how does this help me calm my scattered mind?" The Buddha smiled gently and said, "Your mind is like this arrow. Without intention, it is pulled in all directions." Distracted and restless, the villager furrowed his brow and asked, "How do I find this intention? Master, how do I choose my target?" The Buddha straightened, his gaze sweeping over the field, and said, "Reflect deeply on what truly matters to you. Your target must align with your values and purpose. Only then will your mind focus naturally." Buddha's voice softened. "Do not fear truth, disciple, but wield it with care. For truth spoken harshly becomes a blade." The villager nodded, his expression thoughtful. "Your focus must be like the sun, unwavering and clear, guided by the light of your purpose," the Buddha continued. The man seemed to struggle with this idea, so the Buddha added, "Begin with small intentions, like a farmer tending his first seed. With practice, your purpose will grow stronger." The villager seemed relieved and said, "Master, I will reflect on my target and practice mindfulness to guide my scattered thoughts." Days later, the villager returned to us, his face brighter and calmer. "Master, I have chosen my target," he said. "I wish to live a life of kindness and service to others." The Buddha nodded, his eyes filled with approval. "You have found a noble purpose," he said. "Now, let your actions align with this intention." Like the arrow moving toward its mark, as we journeyed together to the next village, the Buddha turned to me and said, "Ananda, what have you learned from this?" I pondered his question, the image of the arrow vivid in my mind. "Master, I have learned that focus begins with clarity of purpose. Without it, the mind flounders like a boat without a rudder. The grove and its bamboo remain a symbol, reminding me always to speak with the care and strength they embody. Another day. Another gathering. Buddha stood beside a lotus pond, its still water reflecting the calmness of his serene figure. Guard your intentions well. As he spoke, I felt a deep sense of resolve settle within me, a determination to live with intention and clarity. In the following days, I observed how the Buddha carried this wisdom into every aspect of his life. Whether speaking to villagers or meditating beneath a tree, his actions were guided by unwavering purpose. Inspired by his example, I began to reflect on my own intentions and how they shaped my focus. One evening, as we rested by a riverbank, I asked the Buddha, "Master, how do I protect my intention from being derailed by distractions?" He picked up a small pebble and held it up to the fading light. "Ananda, this pebble is like your focus. If you place it in rushing water, it will be swept away." He then placed the pebble in a small depression in the ground, where it rested undisturbed. But if you guard it well, distractions cannot carry it away. I took his words to heart, practicing mindfulness to shield my intentions from the constant pull of distractions. I noticed how this practice brought a sense of peace and direction to my days. A young woman stepped forward, her voice soft, her hands clasped tightly, seeking solace for a deep emotional wound. "Master," she began, "I have been betrayed by someone I trusted deeply. Master, how do I remain focused on my work when the needs of my family distract me?" The Buddha asked him, "What is the purpose of your work?" The farmer replied, "To provide for my family and ensure their happiness." The Buddha nodded and said, "Then let their happiness guide your focus. Your work is not separate from your intention, but a part of it." The farmer seemed relieved, his burden lightened by the Buddha's wisdom. "Thank you, Master," he said, bowing deeply. "I will carry this lesson with me. The mud, the roots, and the flower are inseparable, much like the bonds between us." Buddha's smile widened slightly, his satisfaction evident. One morning, as the sun rose over the hills, I asked the Buddha, "Master, what is the ultimate purpose of focus?" He gazed at the horizon, his expression serene, and said, "Focus is the path to wisdom. Ananda, it allows us to see clearly, free from the fog of distraction. Barriers rise from fear and ignorance. Compassion dismantles them by revealing the shared essence of all existence. Our shared suffering is the mud. It nourishes understanding and reminds us we are never alone in our struggles." Buddha elaborated. I pondered his words, realizing the profound truth in the idea that suffering is the foundation of compassion and connection. Another day. The evening sky blazed with hues of orange and crimson as we gathered beneath the sheltering branches of a banyan tree. The campfire flickered gently, casting warm shadows upon our faces. The Buddha sat with calm composure, his eyes reflecting the glow of the flames. Around him, his disciples, including myself, formed a quiet circle. "Master," I ventured, breaking the silence, "the distractions of this world often feel like storms overwhelming my small flame of attention. How can I protect it?" The Buddha lifted his gaze, his eyes steady and filled with compassion. Without a word, he reached forward and picked up a single ember from the campfire. "This flame can illuminate, but it can also consume," the Buddha said, holding the ember before us. "Attention works the same way. Ananda." He gently placed the ember onto a patch of dry grass, and soon the fire began to spread in erratic patterns. "Observe how it consumes everything around it when left untamed," the Buddha said, extinguishing the fire with his hand covered by cloth. "But," he continued, lighting the ember once more and shielding it carefully with his hand, "when guided and protected, this flame can light your path." His eyes met mine, calm yet firm. "Attention is the flame within you. Focus requires careful nurturing, guarding, and directing toward what is worthy. I sat in silence, absorbing his words as he continued. The winds of distraction blow fiercely, but steadiness can shield your flame from being extinguished. The disciples around me nodded, each reflecting upon the struggles of maintaining focus in their own lives. I found myself questioning, Master, how do I know what is worthy of my attention? The Buddha turned his gaze to the sky, where the first stars began to appear. Ananda, look at the stars, he said. They shine not for themselves but to guide those who wander. Direct your flame toward what brings light to others. His words resonated deeply, and I felt a growing resolve to align my focus with the principles of compassion and service. Master, another disciple spoke up. I often feel my attention swayed by desires and fears. How do I overcome this? The Buddha placed the ember back into the fire and said, Desires and fears are like gusts of wind. Observe them without attachment, and they lose their power over your flame. The fire crackled gently, its warmth enveloping us as the Buddha continued. Meditation is the practice of grounding your flame amidst life's chaos. It trains your mind to remain steady. He gestured to the fire, adding, Just as this flame grows brighter when tended, so does your attention through mindful practice. The disciples exchanged thoughtful glances, their expressions filled with contemplation. I could see how the Buddha's teachings were igniting a shared understanding among us. As the night deepened, the Buddha said, Focus is not merely a skill, Ananda, it is the foundation of all wisdom and clarity. We began our meditation by the fire, each focusing on the steady rhythm of our breath. Time seemed to slow as the flames danced before us, and I felt my mind settling into calmness. When we opened our eyes, the Buddha spoke again. You have shielded your flame tonight, but remember, the world will test you. Distraction will always seek to intrude. I asked, Master, how do I remain steadfast in the face of persistent distractions? The Buddha pointed to a nearby stream, its water flowing quietly under the starlit sky. Ananda, this stream follows its course, unyielding, despite obstacles in its path. Let your focus be like the stream. His metaphor painted a vivid image in my mind, reminding me that persistence is the key to maintaining focus. But Master, another disciple asked, is it wrong to let our attention wander occasionally? Can distraction ever serve a purpose? The Buddha smiled faintly, his expression gentle yet wise. Distraction can teach you the value of focus, much like darkness enhances the beauty of light. He added, however, do not let distraction become your home. Return to your flame, for that is where your growth lies. His teachings felt like a beacon in the night, guiding us toward a deeper understanding of the nature of attention and focus. The embers of the fire began to fade, and the Buddha said, the flame within you can transform not only yourself but the lives of those around you. As dawn approached, painting the horizon with shades of gold, the Buddha turned to me and said, Ananda, what have you learned tonight? I pondered his question, the image of the flame vivid in my mind. Master, I have learned that focus is a sacred flame that requires patience, protection, and direction toward worthy pursuits. The Buddha nodded, his expression filled with quiet approval. Yes, Ananda, let your flame illuminate your path, and may it bring light to others as you journey forward. His words settled into my heart like seeds, ready to grow into wisdom with time and practice. As we continued our journey, I carried the lesson of the flame within me, a reminder that focus is not merely an act but a way of being. I found myself reflecting on how the Buddha's teachings transformed the lives of those who sought his guidance. The merchant pondered the wisdom, his spirit stirring with hope. So I must rise above their ways like the lotus and the sky? Yes, Buddha said with a gentle nod. I observed how the villagers who practiced mindfulness became more content, Despite their hardships, the disciples who meditated regularly grew more compassionate and understanding toward one another. One day, a young woman approached the Buddha with tears in her eyes. "Master, I cannot focus. My mind is consumed by grief," she said, her voice trembling. The Buddha listened intently, his expression filled with empathy. "Grief is a powerful wind," he said gently. "But even amidst the storm, your flame can endure. But how can compassion create change in a world that values power and aggression over kindness?" "The ripple in the pond starts small," Buddha said, "yet its impact extends outward, touching every corner of its surroundings." When she opened her eyes, she said, "Master, the storm within me has quieted, though the pain remains." The Buddha replied, "Pain may persist, but it need not consume your flame. Focus allows you to transform suffering into strength." His words brought solace to the woman, and she vowed to practice mindfulness in her daily life. I marveled at how the Buddha's teachings brought light even to those in their darkest moments. His wisdom was not confined to one setting but adapted to the needs of each person he encountered. As the sun set over another horizon, I asked the Buddha, "Master, what is the ultimate purpose of nurturing our flame of attention?" He gazed at the fading light, his expression serene, and said, "Attention is the key to seeing clearly. Free from the fog of illusion, it is the path to enlightenment." Ananda. His words resonated deeply, and I felt a profound sense of gratitude for the guidance he had shared. The lessons of the flame became the foundation of my practice, shaping my thoughts and actions in transformative ways. As I reflected on the journey, I realized that focus was not merely a personal endeavor but a gift that could inspire others to find clarity and purpose in their own lives. Under the endless sky, I vowed to protect and nurture the flame within me, carrying the Buddha's teachings as a light to illuminate my path and the paths of those I encountered. The disciples absorbed the teachings, their hearts filled with renewed strength. The forest grew quiet, its peace embracing them fully. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.